Hey, and welcome to another edition of Life Class with Dr. J. I am your host, the fabulous Dr. J, and I am excited about our guest tonight, Dr. Marcus Stewart. How you doing tonight?
Look, I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me. I look forward to tonight's broadcast.
The power of belief, the
Yes,
promise of hope.
yes.
Man, those some powerful words. I can't wait to hear what you got to say tonight.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just start off, telling people, those who may be watching for the first time and don't know who you are, tell them a little bit about yourself. Who is Dr. Marcus Stewart?
Marcus Stewart, a little guy from Holmes County. Um, Grew up in a single parent household. Um, Somebody who loves hard work, somebody who's dedicated to life, who's infatuated with life, and not just mine, but making other people's lives better. I am an administrator in the Rankin County School District at Richland High School. Absolutely great place. But again, I'm born and raised and made in Holmes County. Have a son, awesome young man who I am very proud of, Amari Stewart, and he might be watching tonight. I'm not sure, but hopefully he is.
Gotta unmute. We hope they are watching. We want to get you all involved in this conversation. Definitely, write comments, questions in the chat. We want to make this class as interactive as possible. So, how did you come up with that topic? I mean, because the words are so powerful.
Those are things that mean a lot to me, belief and hope. And sometimes I think we lose sight or we lose value in those words. Like there's a lot of power behind both. And if we learn how to harness that power behind those words, I mean, it can take us a long way in life because it helps on those days when you don't have people to lean on. You're not able to see you're not able to see a clear path to where you want to be or to get out of the situation that you're stuck in. So, as I look around and I look at the climate of the not only nation but the world, I think we could do a better job of spreading belief and hope and just sharing, a few positive stories and messages here and there. Maybe that could help a few people tonight. And I felt like if I was able to come back here, that would definitely be something I would love to share a few tidbits about.
Wow. I can't wait to hear some of these stories, just growing up with you. And even though we weren't competing, but just watching you being at the top of your class, you know what I'm saying? And just every year, and to look at us now, like, Doc, it's amazing.
It is. It is. And you think back to the last episode of all the greatness that we had on that screen, that all we went through the same channels, the same community, regardless of what it looks like and the negative perception that many try to label that community with. There are great things there. There's a lot of hope there. There's a lot of promise there.
It is. It is. So share some of the stories that shaped you into being, Dr. Marcus Stewart. But before you get started, I just want to say one thing about the people in Mileston, Mississippi. Y'all holler about Dawson Road and but the people in Mileston are a special people. And it took me learning and studying history to realize that the people of Mileston were the anchor of Chula and the civil rights movement. And I didn't know that as a child growing up, but that's why when you all came from Mileston to Chula, you all were different. You all were on a whole nother level than the children that, didn't, you know, grow up in Mileston, or that, didn't attend Mileston school. I mean, you all were different.
Well, I mean, I think it just came from us understanding that, in a lot of senses, we were all we had, and we had to depend on each other, family to family. That whole idea of sharecropping and all that, it was embedded. So, it was a natural, innate practice within our communities that we shared, and we cared for each other, and we looked out for each other for the most part. And uh, in a lot of ways, those are things that, a lot of places have gotten away from. And again, when we started talking about this episode tonight, it just resonated with me to talk about that power of belief and that promise of hope, because those are things that could take us, that could lift us, that could uplift that one individual, that can have a tremendous impact on so many others across the not only the country again, but across the world. You know, and to kind of dive into it, there's so many stories I could share, but I always have to start with what keeps me grounded. And as a young boy, this was the affirmations that were spoken over my life by my mom. She made me believe. She made sure that I heard about the potential for my greatness often. I mean, daily. It was, okay, this is what you're going to be. This is who you're going to be. And she didn't accept anything less. Whenever we were alone, she never failed to say something powerful. Although I didn't understand why at the time, but now in my old age, it makes sense. I don't have that. I can't call her and ask her questions. I'm not able to do that now. So even throughout some of my most recent difficult moments, and there have been a few as of late, I recall memories of her. She had that no excuses, get it done attitude. And until this day, it's my guiding star. I remember as a boy, she would take me everywhere she went, particularly St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. As much as I hated speaking in public, uh, she made me read. She made me speak and engage in every possible way. If there was something that needed to be done, she volunteered me to do it. And in doing so, she had expectations for me. She was a single parent, true enough, but she made sure that it didn't reflect in me. She made sure, one, I had to take pride in my appearance. She wasn't going to let me out of the house, and if I wasn't uh, dressed to the nines, as they say. That stuck with me until this day. I like to have pride in myself and my appearance. But all these things is to say, she became a voice in my subconscious and a presence in my
Mhm.
soul, that would never leave me throughout the moments of doubt or uncertainty. You know, yeah, it was just powerful to have that as a young boy. And again, I couldn't see it then, but now it's clear as day. Like, I see the plan for her. I hear her voice. I remember her expressions. I remember all those things. Um, all those things added up to me understanding that the environment that I grew up in was only a factor in the outcome. The deciding factor, the ultimate factor, was what was within me. And this belief continues every day in the work that I do. We change lives. I truly believe that an administrator, if you're leading a building, your job is to change lives. And I'll share this story with you before we go on. Um, I had a student that came to my school from some 3,000 miles away. This young lady came to my school alone at age 14. She traveled here from another country. She was detained twice at the border. One time she talked about getting so sick there that she almost died. The student arrived, she spoke no English. She left everything behind her, her entire family. When I tell you, this girl was probably 5'3", maybe 80 pounds, little bitty girl. We were all that she had. And I thought to myself, okay, if I'm leading a school and I'm building a school environment for all kids, what can I offer this girl that could take her mind away from where she came from, but to deliver something within her that she can walk away with a better life. And she ended up graduating as a bilingual student. with honors. And now, last I talked to her, she's on her way to becoming a citizen. So these are the stories that matter. The belief that we can change every student's life. And there are countless others. This is just one that resonates with me more than well, right now at the moment. But believing in the people that I have and the ability that we have, I have a tremendous staff that does a great job with our students. And this is what we do on a daily basis.
The power of belief, the
Yeah.
promise of hope.
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow. To someone watching and just feeling hopeless, what does that look like? Can you paint them a picture of hope?
I can. I can. Um, but first, allow me, I love to share things that I read and things that inspire me. So this right here came from former President Obama, who, again, anybody knows me knows I'm a tremendous fan of President Obama. But he said, hope is not blind optimism. It is not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead or the roadblocks that stand in our path. It is not sitting on the sidelines or shirking from a fight. Hope is that thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us if we have the courage to reach for it and to work for it and to fight for it. Hope is the belief that destiny will not be written for us, but by us, by the men and women who are not content to settle for the world as it is, who have the courage to remake the world as it should be. Powerful, mind blowing. When I read that, I'm like, okay, instantly, this has to be something that I keep in front of me at all times. And I have this little page in my laptop full of quotes and affirmations that on the worst day, I go back to this and I read, and it's like, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's get after it. Um, Textbook definition of hope. One of my favorites is very simple: to cherish your desire with anticipation. So you have your desire. This is something I want, but I anticipate it. I know it's going to happen. I can't see it now, but I know it's going to happen. Achieving the best version of oneself is the ultimate goal. That's what everybody should aspire to be. It should be in each person's mind that, think about the probability of being here, being alive today. Um, I think according to scientific measures, the probability of each one of us being here on Earth is something like 1 in 400 trillion. So when you look at it in that context, like what does the other 399 trillion think of the version that you are now? You're the version that made it. So why not wake up with the intent to make the most out of your probability? Why not you? You know, why can't you be the first of your siblings to graduate from a single parent household? You know, it's possible. It's sitting right here in front of you. That's the story that I bring tonight. Why can't our communities be restored? You see where I'm going with this? I mean, the most powerful events happen in places that are not ideal. And I think a lot of people get so sidetracked by the visibility of the communities and the things they see that they lose track that the most powerful events happen in places that are not ideal. Just because building isn't fit for a magazine cover, it doesn't mean it can't provide a kid an opportunity to learn. It doesn't mean that a kid can get there and it become a shelter for a kid in
Right,
need.
right.
Again, that definition is to cherish a desire with anticipation. And as long as it's up to standards, this building is up to standards and protecting all the visitors from the elements of harm, the potential is there. That's where the focus has to be. It's that beginning, a spark, so to speak. It's that spark that we're after, and when that spark of hope ignites, that flame of belief will rage. And when progress is made, people take notice. That's just the way it is. People say it can't be done until it's actually done. People want to be involved, but they want to see that first step. They want to see that glimmer of hope that it can be done. And from an operational standpoint, if I can change gears, you know, when you dare to dream, when you dare to invest in the community and you do something like start a program for the kids, you begin to collect data about that program, about the effectiveness of that program. And then you're able to tell and show how these things are making a positive impact. And this is necessary. If you want to attract investors, to get grants, to ultimately take back what's righteously ours, our communities, these are things that we have to do.
I mean, that's powerful, and when I hear you say what's rightfully ours,
Right,
can you kind of expound on that? I don't even think a lot of people claim ownership. We have dominion
right,
of this world, and a lot of people don't believe that because we don't see that. So, kind of talk about that.
right. Well, I mean, these are places that house, are created, are contributed to our childhood memories. Like these are places that made us, that made our parents. You know, we can get to a place where we just let it go to waste. I'm miles away, but at the same time, Holmes County remains at the center of my thoughts daily. I know where I came from. I accept where I came from. I love where I came from. And people that know me know where I came from. So I think there's power in recognizing, spreading the stories, talking about the great things, being a banner, being a banner of hope for people that come from there. I love that shock factor when people are told, well, he grew up in Holmes County. That's Holmes County. Yeah, that's where I'm from. Where did you go to school? Like it almost becomes a quiz. Like they want to challenge you to make sure that you're telling the truth. I'm like, I grew up in Chula. Okay, I know Chula.
Right.
Yeah, we hunt out there or whatever. And it's just inspiring, to be myself and not have to change and hold those values near and dear. I was just on Dawson Road yesterday, driving down the road, looking and just reminiscing about the days of old. And I don't know if Bobby Mitchell was on here, but if he is, I'm quite sure he's in the background screaming Dawson somewhere. Till this day, oh, ownership, like that's our road. That's where we came from. That's what we do. And that's a part of me that I won't ever lose.
The dirt road. Listen, it was a dirt road up until what, last year,
Yeah.
with
Yep.
about 3, 4 hills, like
Uh-huh.
real steep hills.
Yep. Yep. You didn't want to wash your car before going down that road.
But hey, that's right. Represent where you from,
Oh yeah. Always. Always.
man. I just feel before I even go into that, I just want to ask you, just for the people on here who like history, are you familiar with Alexander versus Holmes County, 1969?
Educate me.
Did you know that it was because of by a lady named of Beatrice Alexander who sued the state of Mississippi and Holmes County
Mhm.
so that they can integrate the schools. So we had Brown versus Board of Education,
Mhm.
but they did not integrate the schools. It took Alexander versus Holmes County in 1969 for them to actually integrate the school. And that's why you see schools like Jackson Prep and all these private schools, they were founded around 1969 when the schools were actually integrated.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, man, when I tell you so many great things come from Holmes County and people don't even know it, and I have to just let people know about their history
Right. Absolutely.
so that
Absolutely.
it can, let people know the power of hope and belief that you can do anything
Right.
and be anything you put your mind to.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why your platform is so important right now. People have to understand the importance of giving back to that platform that you have so awesomely provided. And you do a great job of
Thank
carrying
you.
these messages, keeping this hope alive for our communities out here, not just Holmes County, but across the entire state. I mean, well, nation, you own Dr. J. Everybody knows about the fabulous life.
Oh.
You're heard, like they say. But that platform is so valuable, and I think and I thank you for leading that charge and being true to who you are because it's necessary. It's very necessary.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. That is so powerful. It is scary because you don't see nobody filling this space and you see a need and You like, I'm just a country girl from Mississippi. I break verbs, even though I have
Yes,
a doctorate. I still mess up words, and I don't care nothing about it. But I'm gonna speak
absolutely.
my truth. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, use what you have, start where you are, do what you can.
Exactly.
Forget
Exactly.
all that other stuff.
Exactly. 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 That is so true.
Look where we are. We are witnesses. I was a teen mom. Were
Hmm.
you a teen when you had your son? When you was a father, you
No,
became
I
a
was
father?
I was over the hill. I was 23.
Wow, wow. I didn't realize you were that old. Wow, wow, wow. Yep.
Yeah. But you made it. That's all that matters. You made it. And your story has inspired, I'm quite sure, countless others. And it will continue to inspire. And that's what matters through these platforms. Your perspective that you bring to the table, culture, the social capital that you provide to
Wow.
thousands of people is important because again, now that's something and I actually have that in my notes for later on, but I can't help but plug it right here. Social capital is something that's valuable, but it's lacking in our communities. And by social capital, I'm talking about the
Love it.
conversations that our kids are having. Who are they having them with? Who is this voice of reason that is providing all the expertise and providing all the inspiration that our kids are, even that we're exposed to. We have to consider those things, and we have to funnel. We have to create avenues where um, that social capital, that exposure or that access to social capital is done in a way that's valid and it's tested. So our kids are able to get information from sources that are credible. They don't have to run to social media. We know what happens on social media. When they find an answer that they like, that's where they stop. When they hear a voice that gives them um, an answer that they are pleased with, they stop. They don't dive deeper to try to understand, okay, well, why can't it be something else, or why, you know they need to be able to have these conversations. They need to have the avenues and the platform to have constructive conversations that build them up and not just tell them what they want to hear or paint them in a light that's easy, that shows success being a rap song away or shooting a 3 point. It has to be real. And again, it goes back to you having this platform and the things that you're doing that um, has the potential to uplift countless individuals.
Wow, wow. Well, I want to just extend the offer and welcome you to this platform. Anytime you have something you want to share, talk about, teach, hey,
I,
it's yours.
I appreciate it. And I definitely, like I told you last time, I will definitely be back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So let's, inspire and tell some of these stories. Like you said, you have countless stories. Let's tell another story that you have that may spark somebody out there watching and need that bit of hope. What you got for them?
I mean, I can talk a little bit about my career. How I got to where I am right now. Um, I had no intention of being an educator at all. I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to be a lawyer. A lot of my goals were self-centered. Now that I look back on them in hindsight. Uh, but my entire career is rooted in this. If I listened to people, I wouldn't have made it anywhere but Holmes County in the first place. You know how that narrative goes. I started late in the career of education, so according to the narrative that was floating around, there was no way I could become an effective educator outside those parameters, let alone in places like where I am right now. These were some of the perceptions that were tossed around, things I had to navigate, on my path to where I am. So I started teaching in William Sullivan at I think it was 2006. And when I started, I was infatuated with it. Like I was learning. I had no idea what I was doing per se, but at the same time, I watched my mom do it, so I had that frame of reference. Had countless aunts and uncles who were educators, so I knew of it, but I had to put my own stamp and make it what I wanted to be. So I taught up until 2014, and I took a chance on myself. Two influential people were sent to me, and I believe in people coming into your life at the right time, and this was the case. One of these people was an intern. He came in and he worked with the principal at the time. He was an administrative intern, and he was in the principal corps program at Ole Miss. Still to this day, is one of my good friends. He's a superintendent in Hazelhurst. But he came to me one day and he was like, have you ever thought about, going into administration? Like there's a greater calling here with you. Like you have something. And,
Wow.
with me, I'm thinking, okay, I'm in Holmes County. Like there's no way, the University of Mississippi will want me to come into this prestigious program. This is a program that only accepts 10 to maybe 15 applicants a year out of hundreds of candidates from all over the region, not just Mississippi, but all over the region. And I'm like, how in the world? And before I knew it, the second person popped up, and this was the director of the program. He made a special trip down to the school to talk to me.
No.
Yes, yes, and I was blown away. Like okay, there has to be something to this. Like there's no way all this is happening, and I can't take the message from it. And in his words, he said the program was looking for people just like me. And from there, I just started to believe, like, maybe there is something to this. Like the probability of this guy being here right now, like I said, these it's hundreds of individuals applying for this program. And he showed up to my school to talk to me. I was blown away, you know. And needless to say, I was accepted. And until this day, he's still a good friend of mine. He just retired from up there last year, but a very good friend of mine. Matter of fact, when I took the job that I currently have, I talked to him and, got insight of, because I value his word. His insight is amazing. He's been state superintendent twice, Dr. Tom Burnham, being a really good guy. But
Wow.
coming from Holmes County, making these connections and hearing often, outside, like I said, my mom's affirmations were everything, but this was in her presence when I was in my community and navigating different conversations. It was, oh, you from Chula, you know, we're from Holmes County, them people there ain't going to give you a chance. You've heard the same things I've heard, and to get these opportunities to be in these circles and be in arenas or being in rooms with people who value people that look like us, Dr. J, you know how powerful that is.
Yep.
Think back to one of your biggest moments being a professional. If you're anything like me, I reflect in those moments, like when I'm um, about to present nationally or something like that. I take 5 or 6 minutes to just reflect, like, okay, I'm from Holmes County. And people said that we couldn't do this. We wouldn't be in these rooms. We wouldn't be on these stages. But yet here I am with people who want to learn and hear from me.
Yep.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And
Yep.
that's something that's not lost upon me.
Yep. 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 Man, when I tell you, like, nobody could have told me the things and places I've been, and man, even with Camp Fabulous, being able to, somebody mentioned to me how those girls gonna look back and say, you know, how Camp Fabulous impacted their lives. And I never even thought about that when I started Camp Fabulous. I just wanted to teach these girls all the things no one taught me growing up. And just to see where we are today, it is amazing. So
Right.
anything is possible.
Right. And that comes from understanding who we are, knowing who you are and embracing who you are. And when those pieces start coming together, like, okay, Marcus, you just be you. Wake up and be you. Stop trying to be what you think people want you to be. Be you. And wow, that's when things really started taking off. That's when the dots started to connect.
Do you
Um,
remember that moment? Do you remember when, that happened in your life where you were? How long ago when you gave yourself permission to just be yourself?
you know, honestly, there were a couple of moments, like back in 2017. Um, this was my second year here in Rankin County Schools, and I always wanted, like, my hair. I was growing my hair out, but I was like, I really want to lock my hair, but it's like, okay, they ain't gonna accept me. They're not gonna like this or whatever, whatever. And over the break, spring break, I remember like yesterday, I sat there and you know what, I'm going to do it. So I went and got my hair twisted or whatever. And I came back to that Monday, like so self-conscious, like, man, they're going to be laughing and talking about me and all this. It's like, whatever, after a couple days, kids were coming up to me like, oh man, Dr. Stewart, I mean, look, I like that. That's cool. This and that, from there, it was like, okay, I'm be all the way you, be all the way you. So, it's no secret. I love my Jordan ones. I love them. So when I put on suits, I said, let me throw on my Jordans today. I don't want to wear a dress shoe. It started coming from there like, oh man, I like that. I like that. And that's when the comfort levels began. Like, okay, I feel comfortable now. I feel like I belong. I feel like I am who I am. But I tell you, the crowning moment um, of that transformation was probably my first year as the lead principal here in Rankin County, and it was graduation, and I delivered my little graduation address to the class or whatever. And I got home that night. I had maybe 7 messages, emails, and one of the parents said, seeing you up there tonight was inspiring. My 2 boys were sitting beside me, and both of them said they want to grow their hair like you because now they feel comfortable that they can do it and be accepted. And I'm like, wow, wow, And if I never took the chance to just be me, if I didn't, have that conversation with myself and say, you know what, you're enough, Marcus Stewart. You're enough to do this. Like, keep going, keep going. And lo and behold, look at what happened.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm over here trying to not let these tears drop. You know what I'm saying? They're just so inspiring, man. Man, hearing people's stories, people don't even understand. We don't go through things for us.
Right,
We go through things so that we can have a testimony, so
right,
that we can tell and help somebody else through things. And so I just thank you for being a vessel and sharing your story.
right. Again, that's the beauty of this platform. People have to understand, one, that these stories have to be told, and two, they have to be told truthfully. Again, I have
Ooh,
notes all over this page right here that I'm kind of
ooh.
trying to keep in
Go
context.
on, preach then. Go on, preach
Yeah,
then.
let's talk about that truthful piece.
Woo.
It's easy for people to share stories at times, but a lot of times those stories are going to be slanted to make the storyteller look great. You know, I told myself this when I first became a dad. Like, I'm not gonna give my son advice if it's not the true advice. Like, I'm not gonna tell him not to do something because I didn't like it. If I have invested in it, I'm gonna tell him that. I'm not gonna make it seem like, oh well, you shouldn't want to do this because it's hard to do. No, I'm gonna tell him it's hard to do, but I have prepared. I didn't approach it like I should have. And that's the same thing. I think on the last episode I was on, I kind of touched on it briefly, but I think a lot of what happens in schools and the disconnect between parents and the schools involve, stories that are allowed to exist from when the parents were in school, that they continue to reinvent and they continue to tell themselves, and they start to live that life like, okay, I was done so wrong, or the school did this to me, the school did that to me. But at the same time, they don't own up to what they did that led up to it. They point the fingers and they want to be the victims, but they don't want to own up to it and say, well, yeah, I was screwing up and I got caught and this is what happened to me. It's, oh, well, they were picking on me. We can't put that in our kids and expect them to grow and be better. We have to be honest with our kids, and we have to tell them the truth, the hard truth. And that's where we're going to grow. That's where we're going to grow our kids, and that's what helps strengthen those bonds and those ties. It's not perfect. I mean, it probably won't ever be perfect. But if nothing else, I want this message to go out that if we attempt to correct what we identify as our own shortcomings, and be truthful and be real and be vulnerable, we can do our kids a world of justice, because one, they know when we're lying to them. They can see they can see your tendencies. They know that you're a hothead, but you'll sit here and you want to tell your kid that, oh, I wasn't doing nothing and they were picking on me and I didn't say nothing, and then they did this and they did that. Kids know. Let's do our kids a service and be honest with them. Tell them the truth and let them sort their way. Let them find their way, because otherwise we're handicapping them with lies, and
Yep.
we're not enabling them to grow. So the truth tellers, well, the storytellers need to be truth tellers. Tell the entire story, not just pieces of it to glorify your past days. Your days are gone. Your parent. You're not going back to make the basketball team. Your days are gone. So let your kids have a life built on a foundation of trust and truth, and they will grow.
I like one thing you said about your son. It's not our jobs as parents to tell our kids who they should be. It's our job to support whoever it is that they want to be. So many times, so many parents force things on their kids, and that cause pressure and stress and so many other things. But if you create a space where a child can be themselves, just imagine what that would be like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think back to when he was choosing his college, and he would come in with his acceptance letters. Dad, I've been accepted here. I've been accepted there. And I would, congratulate him like that. That's cool. That's good. But never once. And if he was on here, he would tell you, I never once told him he should go here or he should go there. The decision was solely his. And I have him make an informed decision, but it wasn't a decision for me to live through him. I wanted him to have his own unique experiences. I didn't even want to name him Marcus Stewart Jr. because I wanted him to have his own identity, if you know what I mean.
I definitely know what you mean, because we have so many people that are suffering from identity crisis. And you being a black male, can you kind of talk to those black men who feel like they got to be hard, they got to, mistreat or punk out the guy who may be feminine, when they come around? Can you just talk about being who you are and not necessarily making someone else feel less than?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I give you an example. So this was about a month ago now. The football players were out getting ready for practice, and they were rapping Young Jeezy, and one of them, while he was rapping the song, I finished the verse. They all looked, yeah, they all looked at me like, well, how you know that? I said, look, I was listening to Young Jeezy before you guys were even born. Like, come on, you ain't gonna, you're not gonna tell me anything about hip hop music. Like
Period.
even till this day, before I go into a big meeting, when I'm trying to pump myself up, I'm going to listen to some Project Pat or something. I love music, and hip hop is at the top of
Yes.
the list, and I own that because that's who I am. That's what's in me. But at the same time, I know how to internalize that. I know how to take those messages
Yep.
that's in that music, and I use it for inspiration and not use it to guide my actions. And I think that's something that's lost on a lot of our kids. They don't know how to separate the two. So in me being the professional that I am, I keep reminding them. I remind them all the time, like, hey, I know about the trenches. You're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me something that's going to surprise me. When you talk about things are hard and you're talking about, well, I know how I'm gonna make it. I know that subliminal message. I know what you're trying to say. And when they say that, I can get on their level. I can talk to them. I can tell them, yeah, it's okay to be you. You don't have to wear the gold chains or whatever. If I inspire you to wear a button-up shirt and a suit every day, look, I can tell you where to go get it for the low. You have to understand, the world needs to see you. The world needs to see reflections of all individuals. We can't just see reflections of rappers and think that you're gonna have a assembly line of doctors coming from that. those subliminal messages that we see on social media platforms, on commercials, and that stuff is there for a reason. You know, we have to get comfortable with being ourselves, being true to ourselves, presenting that truth to others, and letting people make their own opinions. Who cares what people think? Who cares what people think? You're gonna have 25 opinions for every action that you make, at least 25.
Yep, yep, yep.
It's up to you to determine if you want to accept them. And when I see these young males, that's young males and young males in general, but young black males and young black females, oh, I get all over them. I I'm a cool person until I start to see those tendencies. And when I see those tendencies that lead them down that path of destruction, oh, I'm on them. And the last thing they can do is come into my office and say, well, it's only me and my mama and my, okay. So I grew up the same way, with leaking ceilings and other things, rats and roaches and stuff like that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I looked up and I saw my mom working hard to provide. I saw my uncle, Robert Stewart, who was like the biggest inspiration I can ever have. And if I can for a minute, when we talk about hope, again, I grew up, I didn't have a dad, so to speak, growing up. Now, me and my dad are good now. We're great. He's a really good guy. I love him to death. But growing up, I did not have that. I had my grandfather there, but my grandfather had like a 7th, 8th grade education. I learned how to work hard by watching him. I learned how to provide by watching him. My uncle Robert he inspired me to this day. And I told him the other night because, I feel like I do a pitiful job of conveying these messages to let the people who inspired me know the impact they had upon me. But he's been in education for 50 plus years, 50 years. And just this past Friday night, he came to my school. I had no idea he was coming. And he stood on the sideline with me during the football game and we talked. We
Oh,
talked.
I saw that picture. Yeah.
It was amazing. And it's been 2 real tough weeks, on the job. But that one night put everything in context. And those kind of things, because I had all the excuses in the world if I wanted to just give up and say, no, I can't do this. But no, it was embedded in me at an early age that I was going to be something. And I had to find the pieces. I had to put those pieces together and hold on to those pieces to get to where I am.
Marcus, I really want us to really talk about, we have a friend that we grew up with and we saw go down a different path. And a great guy made great grades, but when he got caught up in the drug game, and spent a lot of time in jail, it changed his life. Can you talk to the young people who may think, being hard and the drug game and easy money may be the way to go? Kind of speak to that mindset.
Yeah, sure. I was one who enjoyed life. Like when I was 17, 18, 19, even my early 20s, I enjoyed life. But the day my son was born, things started to take on a different context. Like it was like, okay, life is real now. But when he started to when he got to 5, 6 years old, I pumped the brakes on everything. Like, you know what? This is the number one priority right here. I stopped, even to this day, I don't hang out. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything because my investment left me and it was all about him. He became the investment. Like I had to do the things to ensure that his life would be better than mine. So he didn't ask to be here. He did not ask to be here. But at the same time, he's mine. And there was no way in the hell that I was going to allow him to go through and not have that voice of reason and not have a solid example of what it looks like to be a man. And I say this to any young man, like those perceptions that we were flooded with, the social capital that our kids are exposed to, it all leads back to that. And it only in those conversations, the exemplar example is the only example that you hear about, the ones who made it. You don't hear the ones who did not make it. It's all about the ones who made it. You rarely do hear the story about the one who fell short and how life was so hard for them after they got themselves out of the jam that they were in. But they carry a label forever. Last thing a young black male needs is to be thought of as a drug dealer. You don't shake that label. You don't ever shake that label. Even if you go off to be successful, somebody's gonna dig that up and try to hold it over your head. He's doing that with drug money. You're gonna always have somebody looking over your shoulder trying to tear you down. So I think more than anything, the truth needs to be told. And again, I'm going to run this word in the ground until we develop avenues that pass the positive messages down and create a system where our kids, our family members, our friends are getting social capital, are exposed to social capital that is productive to them. It's fair. It's honest. We're going to be stuck in that cycle for a long time because it's a lot of money being pumped into the images that we see or to the perspective that we hear about. The music is, I mean, they're selling it. It's a lot of money in entertainment. And it's easy to get people to tune in to the latest and greatest rap song, as opposed to sitting here listening to us on this podcast. We don't have music. We don't have background dancers. We don't have the jewelry flashing. We're
I
pushing.
can't compete with Sexy Red. Listen, I can't.
We're pushing hope here. We're not pushing dope. It's not attractive to hear this message. But our challenge is, and I'm talking about to you, me, everybody else that looks like us and who operate from similar platforms and operate under the same guise, is how do we get this message to the kids? Like, how do we get them to invest? Now, mind you, this is the right idea, I think. I think this podcast idea, because it's something that's convenient. They can go back and watch this at their own luxury, but they need to hear it in those circles, in their social circles. They need to hear about these things when they're sitting there at the table talking about, there is no way I can't make it, or this, that, this, and that. It has to be someone in that circle that can say, hey, if you watch Dr. J's last episode, she talked about that. You can get some insight there. Go watch that. It's a couple of people that are in that business they provided some insight there. We have these connections. We have the platforms. It's just a matter of putting it together in a way that competes. Now, I know we won't be able to totally outshadow Sexy Red and all the other, but we need to be able to inspire them. Maybe get Sexy Red to drop a line in one of her songs and say, hey, you need to look at the fabulous life of Dr. J. She's always dropping nuggets or something. It has to be a partnership. It has to be commitment. It has to be actions taken that will lead the youth back to the platforms that has the true information that they need. It can't all be glorified. It can't all be, I'm the drug dealer. I'm pushing the keys. Somebody got to tell the truth there.
Right. Why they be renting these cars for these video shoots. And, the more we learn about hip hop and realize it wasn't real, and also people need to understand that hip hop has been hijacked.
Yes.
The music that we grew up on is not this same Papa Molly, the stuff that we singing. What is the song, Molly? It's singing. They actually have a song about getting high, about popping drugs, and people seeing it and not even knowing that they putting that in their brains. And it's like, man.
And it's catchy as all get out, but the thing is, their minds are too young to interpret it. Their minds are too young to take the beat and dance to the beat and not take the message and internalize it and start believing that they are the messages that are subliminally conveyed through those songs. They have to understand that it's pure entertainment. That's all it is. Just like the movies, you don't go to the movie and watch Will Smith and Martin Lawrence killed 30
Caucasian.
people, and then you go out here on the street and kill 30 people. You take it for that 2 hours and 30 minutes that you're watching it. You go home and reminisce and laugh about it, and it is what it is. It's just that understanding, finding that understanding.
And you talked about something else that really I want to touch on. Two people that came into your life at the right time. The power of having a mentor, you guys. I wouldn't be Dr. J, Dr. Carthen, without Dr. Mike Amorgay, who told me to go get in this doctor program. Like, I don't even think I knew a doctor, growing up besides Dr. Washington when he came and, was principal at our school.
Yep.
But I had a mentor who taught at Jackson State. I was in this program, and he told me what program to go get in. I mean, he helped me, and I listened to him. And look where I am today.
Right. Right. It's
So,
powerful. Mentorships, mentors are powerful. And at the same time, in order to engage in a successful mentorship, we have to be able to take criticism.
yeah,
We have to be able to take the hard truth, because a mentor is not, I mean, they have theirs, so if they're investing in you and they're telling you things that you need to change or things you need to consider that you need to do, it's just to make you better. And that comes with conditioning and identifying your vision. Like, what do I want to be? And mapping out, okay, how am I going to get to this vision? Plotting your short and long-term goals. Your mentors are there to help you see that vision through. And I promise you, Dr. Burnham, he's one of the biggest mentors that I could ever have. I can pick up the phone and call him right now. And again, coming from the environments that I came from and hearing the things that I've heard about different people and different races of people and this and that, and that. Look, you have to meet people. You have to get out here and put yourself in arenas where you can meet people and be around positive people, be around successful people, be around people that are different. That's how you grow. That's where you grow. When you're in places and you start to feel uncomfortable and it's like, okay, do I belong here? You're growing. You're exactly where you need to be. And he was a mentor for me that showed me not only just that it was possible, but I was selling myself short. I got in the principal corps and, I came out as an administrator, but the conversation didn't end there. After I finished that program, our conversation turned to, okay, so you're going to do the doctoral program here. And my mind was blown because I'm like, no, I don't think I'm ready for that. You're never going to be ready for it. If you don't do it, you're never going to be ready for it. And before you know it, 3 years pass, and here I am on the platform with Dr. J, doctor and doctor from the same place.
man,
The same
listen.
place, you know?
Chula, Mississippi, the poorest city in the poorest state in the poorest county.
Right, right, right.
Anything is possible.
It is. It is. But we've provided two episodes worth of examples to show what's possible. We need these adults that are tuned in, that see your banner on social media. They need to start directing this to their kids to say, okay, this is possible, y'all. You're brilliant. I know you can do this. You got to up your study habits. You can do this. There are two examples right there of what you can do if you work hard and you stay true to yourself. Those are your examples right there.
And I want to work with the youth. If they don't want to watch this platform, I help them create their own podcast. You know what I'm saying? When I started my show, A View from the SIP, I wanted it to be all young people, high school and college students, because I know they have a perspective and they have a voice and they need to be heard. So I'm just putting it out there in the universe. If anybody hear it and, you know what I'm saying, want to make their voice heard, hey, holler at me, inbox me.
No doubt about it. And I believe you're 110%. And I'll be the first one to that I mean, it's often I struggle with this internal struggle that, okay, I need to do more. I need to do more. But a person like me, I like to be committed. I told you that came to my school from 3,000 miles away. And there are plenty others here. And if I've been told once, I've been told 6,000 times, I have to stop working so hard and learn how to disassociate myself from things and recharge. Right now, this fall break here, I hadn't had a break. It's work time. It's time for me to get ahead during this week. And I think that us being visible, the community needs to see their successful daughters and sons in action. They have to. And whether we have to come together and collaborate and do things, like there are some great things I see in Chula, like they do the back to school drives and things. I mean, there's some great things going on, but I think we need to look at all our resources. We need to pool all of our talents together, and we need
Yep.
to we need to take it on a bigger scale. Like it's not just about one area, it's Holmes County in general. And I think
Yep.
people don't understand the potential is there. We have to find that spark that's going to ignite the flame that's going to be that belief that people can see that, okay, it's not just about sports here. Holmes County has a lot to offer, and they do, because we had people that inspired us. You saw a whole screen of people that are in this profession. A lot of them inspired me. They inspired you. Somebody inspired them.
Yep.
So it's here. It trickles down. We just have to keep it going. And somewhere along the line, there's been some disconnects. But I don't think it's something that we can't
Right.
reconnect.
Right. 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 I believe that we can work together and pool our resources. I was in DC last couple of weeks ago, but I knew I was going to DC, and I emailed my congressman to set up a meeting, and that meeting was canceled because of the storm. But I emailed again maybe this week to reschedule, and one of the priorities is Holmes County. The couple of things that was in that email to Benny Thompson was creating a museum there in Holmes County because of its rich history.
Mhm.
Um, Having a mobile clinic there in Holmes County because the lack of medical resources. Just things, and the food, create some type of food program since they sent all that federal money back.
Mhm.
And we have people who need those resources to help feed their families. And so if we could do things to help Holmes County like that, pool our resources, we can make a difference. And so those are some of the things that I am working on behind the scenes.
Of course, and all those things are so necessary. I mean, you think about the uniqueness of Holmes County. Like, Holmes County is a long-term investment. Like, you have to be intentional about. I use Chula for example because that's why I spend a lot of my time Chula and Mouse. And you got those waterways. I know it will take a tremendous effort to somewhat clean up those waterways, but that could be something that becomes an attraction to people. You hold fishing tournaments and stuff like that. You have a hospital there. Those are partnerships. Uh, I mean, ag is all around the county. Those are people who are willing to come into schools and to have these conversations and to show kids and to inspire kids. Like there are so many great pieces that are there. It's just I think the silos are what's killing Holmes County. You have too many people working in silos. We have to be okay with understanding that if I work with this person, they might get the credit, but in the end, the whole county rises. That's what matters.
Right.
And that's putting egos aside and understanding that the potential is there. We're losing the generations that inspired us. We're losing them, and I
Yep.
think they need to see this. We owe it to them to create these environments, to create a vision of Holmes County that they can be proud of before their time is up here. I think we owe it to them.
Right, right, right. And that's one of the reasons why I am working to tell my father's story, Eddie Carthen and the Chula Seven. I have been interviewing people and just asking them about, their version of what happened and why it's important to share his story and how um, future generations can learn from his story. And just hearing people say, like, I interviewed this guy named Mike Alexander, and he told me that he was in Washington, D.C. when he heard my father speak. And he was inviting people to come to Chula to help him. He came here and worked on my father's campaign. He said because of that, he ended up working for Mike Espy, who was at the time congressman. And he said from that job, he ended up working for another congressman in New Jersey. But the fact that he got his political career started
Mhm.
here in Holmes County in Chula, Mississippi,
Right,
I was like, oh my goodness, people
right,
need to hear these stories.
right, right. And
So
that
I'm on the mission.
you're on a mission, and that idea of a museum is, I mean, I think that's outstanding because we need those attractions to bring people there. We need people, we need to give people more reasons to come to the county to see the things that are there. And we definitely don't need to lose track of that history. And I appreciate the history lesson I got tonight. I love the love to learn. That was inspiring. That is inspiring to hear because you're right. There's a lot of history in that Mileston area, and I grew up around a lot of it. You know, it's just great to be a part of and see, but we can't lose that story.
And that's one of the things I want to be, that bridge that people come to learn about history. Just being, I saw a picture today with me being in my father's arm while he was on the courthouse, trying to fight for his freedom, and to see the work that I do today, and
Mhm.
it's like, this is nothing but God ordained. And I
Yeah.
just thank him, and I just thank you for sharing. And I want to give you the floor to leave your final words, your final remarks for the people that's listening.
Again, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be considered an inspiration. You know, I just feel like it's telling a story. But things I want to leave, you know, um, there were many days I didn't have a clue. I had no answer to what tomorrow held or what my career, what my life would look like. On those days, I can't stress it enough. The affirmations that were spoken over my life, the words that my mom poured into me, it resonated in the back of my mind. And even today, in her absence, I still feel a presence. I it's hard for me to walk into a room and be so intimidated that I can't perform like I need to because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that she's right there behind me on the stage. And if I look back, she's going to be giving me that look like, boy, get your butt out there and make it happen. You know, I think more than anything else, as a single parent, instilling those foundations helped me today, like nothing else ever had. She made me believe and ultimately manifest what I could be if I worked hard. So uh, those things were special. And if I could leave with any one thing, is speak life into your kids or anybody in need. Be the voice, be the voice, be the voice people desperately need because they need to hear truthful affirmations. They need to hear positive messages, and it has to be real. And if we can start there, if we can start there, the potential is endless. So thank you again for having me. I can't wait until the next time. I'm inspired to keep going now. I think we have a lot more that we need to uh, express to the community. People need to know it's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. Thank you so, so much for all that you do. Thanks for, lending your time to be here tonight. And thank you for inspiring a whole new group of Black men. You have no idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Appreciate
Go and be great.
you. You too. Stay great. You already are.
Thank you.
All right. See you.
Man, what a powerful, powerful show. Make sure you all drop down in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know ideas that you have for shows. Let us know, give us your feedback. Again, we are doing this for you. We want to get you involved. You guys, I am working on a fight for justice, the political lynching of Eddie Carter and the Chula Seven. I am determined to tell my father's story. And so, again, I'm working on a documentary. It will air, part of the documentary will air on his birthday, which is October the 18th. He will be 75 years old. And it's also the 40th anniversary for the March to Free Eddie Carthen and Seven. So make sure you check it out. I did some interviews today and I'm just excited about it. I'm excited about just showing you all and hearing these stories. So, thank you all for supporting Life Class. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you share, like, and comment. See you all next week. Don't be late for class. Don't be late for class. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. And go to the website, carthenenterprise.com. Look at the ebooks, support the documentary. Thank you all. See y'all next week.